How Indian Immigrants Anchor America's Success Story, Setting the Standard for Merit-Based Immigration. This article is written by Dr. Jai G. Bunsal. Immigration has always been central to the American story, but it has rarely been as contested as it is today. Debates over jobs, security, and cultural change dominate headlines, while immigrants are often reduced to stereotypes in political arguments. In this environment, the experience of Indian immigrants offers a clear, data-driven counterpoint. Though they make up only a small share of the population, Indian Americans have emerged as one of the most successful immigrant groups in U.S. history. Their record of educational attainment, professional achievement, and civic engagement demonstrates how immigration, when pursued through lawful and merit-based pathways, can enrich a nation rather than strain it. From medicine and technology to academia and entrepreneurship, their contributions reach far beyond individual success, touching nearly every sphere of American life. The following sections will explore these contributions in detail, showing how Indian immigrants have advanced the prosperity, knowledge, and cultural vitality of the United States. Historical perspective. The story of Indian immigration to the United States began modestly. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, small numbers of Indian students, agricultural laborers, and traders arrived on the West Coast. Their progress was soon cut short by restrictive laws such as the Immigration Act of 1917 and the Asian Exclusion Act of 1924, which effectively barred Indian and other Asian immigrants for decades. The real turning point came with the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, which abolished racial quotas and opened new pathways for skilled workers. At a time when the United States urgently needed engineers, doctors, and scientists to meet Cold War challenges, Indian professionals, educated at institutions such as the Indian Institutes of Technology, IITs, and the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, stepped in to fill the gap. They strengthened universities, hospitals, and laboratories, laying the groundwork for a growing community. In the 1970s and 1980s, family reunification policies allowed this professional base to expand into stable households and community networks. What had once been a temporary, male-dominated workforce evolved into families fully embedded in American life. The 1990s and 2000s brought a third wave during the technology boom. The explosive growth of the Internet, the urgency of the Y2K challenge, and the rise of global outsourcing created huge demand for software expertise. Through the H-1B visa program, Indian engineers arrived in large numbers, eventually accounting for more than 70% of new H-1B visas. They became central to Silicon Valley's rise and the broader U.S. digital transformation. At every stage, Indian immigrants integrated through lawful avenues, responding to America's needs with skills and professionalism. Their journey illustrates how opportunity and merit can work together to create lasting success for both immigrants and their adopted homeland. Exceeding expectations. The Indian American Success Story. Immigration has long fueled America's success, bringing people whose skills, values, and aspirations strengthen the nation. The qualities that define a successful immigrant, education, professional expertise, hard work, civic responsibility, and adaptability, are found in many groups, but Indian immigrants stand out for the consistency and scale of their achievements. Measured by nearly every indicator, Indian Americans have integrated with exceptional success. They have some of the highest levels of educational attainment and household income in the country, a strong presence in high-skilled professions, and a growing record of civic and political engagement. They are also well represented in entrepreneurship, healthcare, academia, and technology leadership, all while maintaining strong family networks and cultural traditions. Their impact extends far beyond their numbers. Though they make up only about 1.5% of the U.S. population, Indian immigrants contribute disproportionately in nearly every sphere of American life. Their imprint can be seen in corporate boardrooms, in hospitals and clinics across the country, in laboratories and startups driving innovation, and in the classrooms of leading universities. By every measurable standard, they have exceeded expectations and helped shape the prosperity and dynamism of the nation. The following sections will explore these contributions in greater detail, tracing how Indian immigrants have shaped American life and institutions. Income and education, a statistical outlier. One of the clearest indicators of Indian Americans' integration into the U.S. economy is their household income. With a median income exceeding $147,000, nearly double the U.S. national median of about $70,000, Indian households rank at the top among immigrant and native-born groups. This figure stands out even when compared with other high-performing communities. Chinese Americans have a median household income of about $102,000, while Hispanic Americans, the largest immigrant group, average around $61,000. The overall immigrant median, roughly $71,000, underscores just how far ahead Indian Americans are in economic terms. This strong economic profile is closely tied to educational attainment. Nearly 78% of Indian Americans hold at least a bachelor's degree, compared with just 32% of the general U.S. population. Even within the highly educated Asian American community, Indian immigrants occupy the top tier. Approximately 52% of Chinese immigrants and 50% of Filipino immigrants hold a bachelor's degree or higher, while the figure among Hispanic immigrants is closer to 6%. The link between education and income is evident in professional outcomes. Indian Americans are heavily represented in high-paying sectors such as information technology, engineering, finance, medicine, and academia. Their success demonstrates not only individual ambition but also the effectiveness of merit-based immigration policies that select for skills and training. It also reflects the value placed on education within Indian culture, which has translated into one of the most remarkable examples of upward mobility in modern U.S. history. Innovation and technology. Indian Americans have played a decisive role in shaping the U.S. innovation economy. A 2022 report by the National Foundation for American Policy found that more than half of America's billion-dollar startups had at least one immigrant founder, with Indian immigrants leading the way by founding 66 of them, the largest share from any single country. This level of participation reflects a combination of advanced technical education, professional networks, and entrepreneurial drive that has positioned the community at the center of America's technology sector. Of the 648 U.S. unicorn startups, 72 are led by Indian origin founders, with a combined valuation of $195 billion and a workforce of nearly 55,000 employees. Beyond startups, global technology giants such as Google, Microsoft, and Adobe are steered by Indian origin leaders, Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, and Shantanu Narayan, respectively. Indian investment in science and engineering, paired with U.S. skill-based visas, positioned Indian engineers at the heart of Silicon Valley's rise in the 1990s and 2000s. Today, they remain highly visible across startups and global tech giants, exemplifying how merit-based immigration fuels innovation and economic growth. Healing America. Indian Americans have made a profound contribution to medicine in the United States. Today, they account for nearly 9% of all physicians, a remarkable figure given that they make up less than 2% of the population. Their presence spans the full spectrum of specialties, from family practice and cardiology to oncology, neurosurgery, and public health leadership. The impact is especially visible in rural and underserved communities, where shortages of American-born doctors have long been a challenge. In many such areas, Indian origin physicians form the backbone of healthcare delivery, ensuring access for millions of patients who might otherwise go without care. By 2021, estimates suggested that Indian American doctors were treating more than 70 million patients nationwide, underscoring their vital role in the system. Their contributions extend well beyond clinical practice. Indian origin researchers have advanced breakthroughs in cancer biology, genomics, vaccine development, and medical imaging. Scientists such as Inder Varma at the Salk Institute and Anant Matabushi at Emory University have made influential discoveries, while leaders like Dr. Vivek Murthy, twice appointed U.S. Surgeon General, have shaped national debates on public health, mental health, and pandemic response. Taken together, these achievements illustrate how a small community has become indispensable to American healthcare. Their influence combines frontline service, cutting-edge research, and policy leadership, reflecting both professional skill and a cultural commitment to medicine as a form of service. In strengthening the nation's medical workforce and scientific enterprise, Indian Americans have improved lives across the country while reinforcing the resilience of the healthcare system itself. Contribution to academia. Indian immigrants have become an integral part of American higher education, shaping it through teaching, research, and leadership. Today, Indian origin scholars and administrators are found across the country, with representation at the highest levels of many leading universities. For a community that represents less than 2% of the population, its visibility in academia is striking. Their influence spans nearly every discipline. In economics, Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee of MIT has reshaped approaches to poverty alleviation. In physics and life sciences, Fields medalist Manjul Bhargava and Nobel laureate Venkatraman Ramakrishnan have advanced fundamental research that informs both theory and practice. In medicine and public health, Atul Gawande and Ashish Jha have influenced national debates on healthcare delivery, while Indian origin researchers continue to drive breakthroughs in cancer biology, imaging, and biomedical innovation. In the humanities and social sciences, scholars such as Sunil Amrith, Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak, and Arjun Appadurai have broadened the understanding of history, literature, and globalization. Many Indian Americans now serve as deans, provosts, and chancellors at some of the nation's top universities, shaping policies that affect tens of thousands of students. This presence reflects both professional accomplishment and a cultural ethos that places high value on learning as a form of service. Philanthropy. Indian immigrants and global Indian leaders have also shaped American higher education and research through philanthropy. Their contributions have funded schools, endowed research centers, and expanded opportunities for students, leaving a lasting imprint on universities across the country. Among Indian American donors, Dr. Kiran C. Patel, a Tampa-based cardiologist and entrepreneur, has made $200 million contributions to Nova Southeastern University, where the Dr. Kiran C. Patel College of Allopathic Medicine was established. Chandrika and Ranjan Tandon gifted $100 million to New York University, leading to the creation of the NYU Tandon School of Engineering. Ram and Vijay Shriram donated $61 million to Stanford University for the Shriram Center for Bioengineering and Chemical Engineering, while Gururaj Deshpande gave $20 million to MIT to launch the Deshpande Center for Technological Innovation. At UCLA, Mani L. Bhaumik funded the Bhaumik Institute for Theoretical Physics with more than $14 million in gifts, and Kumar Mulvoli and Sridhar Tyre have endowed programs at UC Santa Cruz, Stanford, and Carnegie Mellon. Global Indian donors have also left a lasting mark. Ratan Tata and the Tata Trusts contributed $50 million to Harvard Business School for Tata Hall, supporting executive education. Lakshmi Niwas Mittal endowed the Mittal Institute of South Asia at Harvard with $17 million, and Anand Mahindra's $10 million donation established the Mahindra Humanities Center, a hub for research in literature and philosophy. These acts of giving have gone beyond naming buildings. They reflect an emphasis on knowledge as a shared resource rather than a private possession. In this way, Indian American and global Indian donors have added a distinctive dimension to U.S. academia, combining Indian cultural traditions with global innovation. Tax revenues and fiscal impact. Indian Americans are not only among the nation's highest earners but also among its most significant taxpayers. Chinese immigrants with higher household earnings also make substantial contributions but still fall short of the disproportionate impact made by Indian Americans. The fiscal implications are clear. Indian Americans are among the few immigrant groups whose net effect on the federal budget is unambiguously positive. Their high incomes translate directly into strong tax revenues, while their spending drives business activity and supports job creation. Business ownership and job creation. Beyond white-collar professions, Indian Americans have established a remarkable presence as business owners, particularly in hospitality and retail. They own 60% of all U.S. hotels, an industry that generates around $700 billion annually and supports more than 4 million jobs and $226 billion in wages. Of the roughly 152,000 convenience stores in the United States, Indian Americans own about 80,000, representing just over 50% of the total, and together generate an estimated $450 billion in annual revenue and contribute more than $100 billion in taxes. These enterprises illustrate how Indian immigrants have expanded their role beyond white-collar professions into sectors that directly sustain everyday American life. Their Contributions are not only measured in profitability but also in their ability to create jobs, support families, and anchor local economies. In both hospitality and retail, Indian Americans have turned entrepreneurship into a platform for economic growth and long-term community stability. Cultural contributions. Indian immigrants have also enriched the cultural landscape of the United States, bringing traditions, practices, and art forms that have gradually entered the mainstream. Yoga studios, Bollywood films, Diwali festivals, and Indian cuisine are now familiar parts of American life, offering both cultural expression for the diaspora and new experiences for the broader public. Cuisine has been one of the most visible contributions. Indian restaurants, once limited to ethnic enclaves, are now common in cities across the country. Dishes such as chicken tikka masala, dosa, and samosas are widely enjoyed, while fusion cooking and television chefs have introduced Indian flavors to broader audiences. Food has become an accessible bridge between communities, blending familiarity with discovery. Public celebrations have also grown in scale and participation. Diwali and Holi festivals in cities such as New York, Chicago, Houston, and San Francisco attract diverse crowds, with cultural performances, lights, and music drawing participation well beyond the Indian community itself. These events not only preserve heritage, but also invite engagement across cultural and religious lines. Beyond festivals and cuisine, Indian origin scholars, writers, and artists have contributed to America's intellectual and creative life. From literature and music to philosophy and film, they have added depth to the country's cultural conversation. Together, these contributions demonstrate how Indian immigrants have blended preservation of tradition with openness to exchange, adding vibrancy to America's multicultural identity. Exceptionally low crime rates. Another defining characteristic of Indian immigrants is their exceptionally low crime rate. In the United States, prison statistics show that Hindus are the least represented religious group in the correctional system, with their numbers so low as to be statistically negligible. This aligns with broader Department of Justice data indicating that Asian Americans overall experience lower levels of violent crime, both as perpetrators and victims, compared with national averages. Similar patterns can be observed internationally. In countries that collect crime or prison data by ethnicity or religion, such as Canada, the United Kingdom, France, and Australia, official records and studies consistently show Indian origin populations to be among the least represented in criminal cases and correctional facilities. While methodologies differ across jurisdictions, the trend is clear. Indian communities maintain some of the lowest levels of criminality relative to their size. Net loss to India, net gain to the United States. While the benefits of Indian immigration to the United States are undeniable, they come with costs borne by India. Most Indian immigrants arrive with professional degrees in fields such as engineering, medicine, and technology, credentials often subsidized by Indian taxpayers. The result is a large transfer of human capital. The United States gains highly trained professionals without having invested in their early education. The contrast is striking when viewed against U.S. benchmarks. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, educating a child in American public schools costs about $16,280 per year, totaling more than $200,000 through high school. Add college, where tuition, fees, and living expenses average $22,389 annually at public universities and $47,390 at private institutions, and the cost rises sharply. Professional degrees in medicine or engineering can push the total public and private investment for each student beyond $400,000 to $500,000. Against this backdrop, the migration of highly educated Indians to the United States represents a profound transfer of human capital. Since 1990, roughly 4 million Indians have immigrated to the U.S., and even a conservative estimate suggests that half, about 2 million, hold professional degrees. If those same professionals had been educated in the United States, the public and private investment would have exceeded $800 billion, based on U.S. benchmarks. For America, this represents a remarkable windfall. A world-class workforce that arrives fully trained and ready to contribute to innovation and growth, without U.S. taxpayers bearing the substantial upfront costs of education. Illegal immigration from India. A diaspora perspective. In recent years, the United States has seen a sharp increase in unauthorized immigration from India. What was once relatively rare has become more visible, with nearly 97,000 encounters reported in 2023 and about 90,000 in 2024. Almost half occurred at the U.S.-Canada border, reflecting how migrants and smugglers are exploiting weaker points of enforcement. For the established Indian American community, this trend is troubling. Indian immigrants have built their reputation in the United States through education, professional achievement, and lawful migration. Practices such as crossing without authorization or fabricating asylum claims stand in stark contrast to the values of those who waited years for visas and pursued merit-based pathways. Many in the diaspora worry that such actions risk undermining the credibility the community has worked hard to establish. Reports suggest that the growth of asylum claims is driven less by actual persecution than by gaps in U.S. refugee policy. In some cases, coaching centers in India are said to prepare migrants with fabricated narratives tailored to meet U.S. asylum criteria. These stories, often framed in terms of religion or politics, may misrepresent India's reality while complicating U.S. border management. Indian Americans generally view these developments with concern. While proud of their contributions to American society, they recognize that unlawful migration challenges both U.S. enforcement and the integrity of their community's standing. The distinction is clear. The achievements of legal, merit-based immigrants should not be conflated with the opportunism of a smaller group seeking shortcuts. Conclusion. The story of Indian immigration to the United States is one of mutual benefit. For individuals, it has opened doors to advancement. For the nation, it has delivered extraordinary returns in healthcare, innovation, academia, culture, and civic life. While India bears the cost of educating much of this talent, the achievements of Indian immigrants highlight the transformative potential of lawful, merit-based migration when aligned with opportunity and responsibility. Far from being a burden, they represent a bridge between nations and a clear demonstration that immigration, when guided by talent and integrity, can renew societies and drive shared prosperity.